Yeah, so we're on track to do 750,000 in revenue. Um, Last year we did like 55% profit margin on that, so probably be right
Awesome.
around the same. So
All right, we are here with Ryan Gallego. He is living in Austin, Texas. He's been shooting video for 4 years, primarily doing higher-end clients like high-end cars or high-end commercials or real estate. So we're going to let him dive into what he's done initially, cold outreach, getting those first initial clients, and then growing that clientele. Ryan, we want to hear from you. Give the troops some insights on what they can do to land those first clients. What are the baby steps you're taking, the words, the phrases, the types of formats to get those clients in the door?
yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you having me on, Parker. So, like Parker said, I've been doing this for 4 years, and when I initially first started out doing video, it was you see all these ads or Instagram posts or whatever about running ads, and this is what you got to do, and cold outreach through like Instagram DMs or
Right.
cold emails, cold calls, and when I first started out, I had just moved to Sydney, Australia to launch the company. So on top of new company, I was in new country, new continent, new people, new business culture, and um, I was kind of following that recipe that I had seen out there online, and none of it worked. I probably spent about like $3,000-4,000 in ads that just didn't go anywhere because I didn't
On
know what
on
I was
Facebook
doing.
or where at?
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Um,
And got zero clients from that.
yeah, zero. But hindsight, looking back at it, it's like why would they have worked? Because it's not like there was any kind of call to action or the correct copy or the correct like storytelling of an ad.
Yeah.
Just posting a piece of portfolio work and being like, oh, come work with us, and it's like
Right.
just would not work. So blew like 4 grand there, and then started doing cold DMs on Instagram to other like, you know, over there it was like realtors, other businesses, and that didn't really go anywhere.
Were you getting any responses or just not even responses?
Yeah, it was like some responses, but I'd say 90% of them were not getting responses, and then again, hindsight 2020, I'm basically pitching me, myself, and the business, and it's like this is who we are, what we do, and it's all about me. It's all about Media Pouch. When in
Yep.
reality, it's like it needs to be all about them, like
Absolutely.
their problems, solving it with a solution, and basically the big lesson learned there is like you got to have a seek to understand initially, like a discovery call to even see if there's a problem that you can solve for them
Yep.
through video marketing. So yeah, the DMs didn't work, and it was the same story with the emails. Same thing with the cold calls. Um, the cold calls were even worse in that sense because I had this like fear of just rejection of getting no, and it's definitely like in your face on the phone. It's not like you're
Yeah.
hiding behind a keyboard on
Uh-huh.
Instagram or email. So, um, but it taught me that I'm taking the completely wrong approach on all of this stuff, and odds are I'm probably barking up the wrong tree here. Um, so what really started to work for me was whenever I got back stateside, like 2020. I was basically going to like 3 to 5 networking events a day between Austin and San Antonio. I was doing anything from like a coffee networking event to breakfast to a lunch, happy hour, dinner,
How are
anywhere,
you finding these networking events?
just like Facebook groups. Facebook groups, like there was like Austin startups. I was just looking on Eventbrite for like networking events, specifically like within tech, automotive, real estate, just anything like that that was going to have a lot of people there.
That's a good new tip we haven't heard yet is joining Facebook groups of local people where you can go and network and just because that is a principle we teach a lot is networking and building relationships. But how do I apply that general principle? And I think that's a good awesome application you've mentioned is go join a bunch of Facebook groups in certain industries that you want to get involved in, right?
Yep, for sure. I mean that was easily the I mean, that thing still pays dividends to this day from all those people that I met. But you've got to target it, right? Like, who are the people that you want to meet? And for me, it was the higher end premium luxury brands. And typically that would start with like tech, automotive, of, just high dollar paying clients like that.
Yeah.
But what really started working for me was I'm going to all these networking events and you're passing out business cards, you're getting business cards, and that's just its whole other workflow of just like, data entry and outreach and everything. And I'm like, fuck, man, like this is a lot of work. Like, how do I just get everybody in these rooms to just come to me? I get all their information, and then I can just like, you know, basically get in, get out. And so what I started doing was the networking events that had like a sponsor option. It was like, maybe like $50, $100. I would just sponsor one, and then that would get me like 1 to 2 minutes of talk time up on the mic. And so what I would do is I'd go up there on the mic, introduce myself. I'm like, hey, this isn't about me, but I'm going to give you guys 3 tips on what you can do to start, implementing video marketing into your business. And they were like super simple tips. It was like, 75% of people watch videos without the sound on, so you need to have captions on there. You need to have like a clear call to action at the end. I forget what the third one was, but basically what I would do then is like, look, I've got like special offer for you guys. Like, if you guys just follow Media Pouch on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, just pick one of them. And then you send me a DM on that platform with your name, number, and email, then I'll do a logo animation for your business. And so awesome. I would set it to basically like the first 5 minutes or whatever. So, but the entire room would just go in there, and then
flooding your DMs. Yeah.
Yep. And so then I would just have everybody's and just like download a logo animation template with their logos in there, and then mass export. So
that's awesome. They don't know it's a template. They think it looks great.
And I mean, most entrepreneurs, business owners, like, they've never even had anything like that done for them, so they're stoked just to get something like that for their business.
Let me cut you off there. Free to fee, add value first. He couldn't get enough connections, couldn't get people wanting to contact him. So he offered something for free. He put the value out there and said, hey, I will do something for free that adds value to your business. Some quick tips, a logo animation for free. And now he has all these connections and all these relationships that he's just built. Keep going.
Yep. So once that started going, that's when, that was in 2020. And this was like right before COVID had hit too. So, me being the new business owner, entrepreneur, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, like, oh, how's this going to impact, video, but the business specifically. But I think as all of us have seen, like, video had a super high correlation with COVID, and, businesses trying to get in front of their audience, customers in a different way. And we played a big part in that. And then the next step, what started working really well was just partnerships, right? So just finding different branding agencies, different social media agencies, different ad agencies, just really anybody who we were kind of in the same creative industry with, and just partnering with them. But what that looked like on a cold outreach side is that, I would find, somebody that has kind of the same look, vibe, feel as Media Pouch, that's working with the same clientele. Just be a really super easy intro to them, and just being like, hey, like, if you guys, this is what we do, would love to learn about, what you guys do. It seems like we're kind of handling the same clients, working with the same people. If your clients ever end up needing video work, we'd love to partner with you on it, and we offer a 10% finder's fee. So if they brought us somebody, then they would get 10% kickback on that. And so that started going really well. Like, then we've got, basically, I've got now these other, entities flowing in deals for us. I haven't done outbound calls, emails, networking, anything like that in the last year. Everything's been inbound, and can honestly say it's been from like those two specific types of things, is finding good partnerships and then just being really strategic about the networking events that we go to.
So from those networking events, what clients came from that, and how long did it take for those? Because you would get, I don't know, dozens, hundreds of DMs, and then what did the process look like from there? You got their information, then what did you do?
Yeah, so we got their information, and then obviously created the logo animation
Yeah.
for them. That just goes into like gift psychology, right? Like I'm giving you something, so you're going to give me something back.
Yep.
Whole other story on that, but
Law of reciprocity. Yep.
yep. But yeah, so then it would basically turn into me just saying something like, would love to have, if there's ever the opportunity in the future that presents itself where you guys have a problem that you need to solve that you think we can solve through video marketing, would love to have the chance to talk to you. I just kept it super informal like that, right? Because what I had learned was like when most people are expecting you to just sell right off the bat, and they've got their guard up. And so if you can basically just bring their guard down and just offer value, tips, whatever it is, just add the most amount of value, even if it's just like finding them a connection that they need help with getting to. That's the approach I took, and so timeline on that took anywhere from 3 to 6 months on average. So I don't know, I'll call it 4.5. But there's still people from like back in 2019, 2020 that I met that are still coming into the pipeline from back then.
Well, I think that's a good thing to point out, is that you're planting seeds when you build these relationships and you network. I get a lot of people saying, "Well, I tried that and it didn't work." And it's like, "Well, you did it yesterday. Like, well, what? How you expecting your business to launch off of one day of effort? Like, building a business takes time. It takes a lot of work over a lot of consistent time." And I build relationships every day with people that I don't plan on even getting anything out of, just because I understand that law of reciprocity that, hey, I'm going to try and add value to as many people's lives as I can. And eventually, a lot of those people will bring that value right back, whether I want it or not. And it, like you said, it could come months, years down the road, and you may not even need it. But the idea is that you're constantly adding value without expecting anything in return, at least immediately. And that's just a general principle to live by, not even business, but just in general, being a good human being. But it has proven for me and everyone I've talking to that applies that principle to also be a very lucrative way to run a business. And so, don't feel like you need to get results right away and then be angry or push people when they're not giving back immediately. Allow those relationships to grow over time. And like you said, like you can be a little bit more, I guess, upfront with maybe a little more aggressive with pushing, "Hey, I'd love to work with you." But you don't always have to be, and they can still turn out to be a good business relationship. So just wanted to point that out, that it does take time. Be consistent with it. Just focus on building the relationships and let them grow.
Time. Patience was not my friend starting out because when you are starting a business, though, in all fairness, it's like you're just trying to get money in the door and you're trying to be scrappy with it. And now it's like I have the luxury of, much like you, I'm just out there building relationships. I understand it's just going to come in the door.
Right.
I'd say a new stream of the like where business is coming from in the last 6 months, like fast forward from when I just started to now, our projected revenue is like 750. Like, where's that revenue coming from? It's actually coming from other production companies, like, funny enough. So we're getting hit up more and more from like production companies out in LA, New York, Seattle, Florida. And it's not necessarily like outsourcing it, but they're letting us be the producer on it, right? Like, hey, we've got the shoot, we're gonna fly in, you guys source the crew, source all this other stuff, and run the show.
And how are you making those connections?
That one's been, funny enough, I had set us up on productionhub.com, and that's where that part of the business has started coming from.
Awesome.
So
And I was just going to say, there's a lot of websites like that. The last Ryan mentioned some websites he's gone to. You've mentioned some websites just to connect and network. And that's why we built VidLead, which is another resource specifically right now, just full-time filmmakers, about 1,000 of them. But put yourself out there on these platforms, create accounts, and just be in those groups and those networks. You talked about Facebook groups, paid groups. Get in as many networking situations as you can. And I would agree, a lot of my work starting out came from other video production companies hiring me as a part of their production. That was more than half of my work, was just, hey, I know all the video guys in my area. They know me. They trust me. I hire them. They hire me. And I would get at least half my income came from just knowing other video people in my industry. So definitely join groups like VidLead, like, what was it? Video Hub? Production Hub. Production Hub. These are great resources just to get your name in front of other people, because you guys know, any of you that are doing video production professionally know, shoot, I need someone to write. I need someone to act. I need someone to second shoot. I need someone to sound. And their go-to guys aren't always going to be available. And so it's nice to have a network of people that you can trust and know that you can bring on your productions.
yeah, I, it's funny because what I hear a lot from other contractors, freelancers that we work with, is that they don't necessarily do that because they're just scared of getting competitive or take like their business getting taken by that other person.
Yeah.
And it's like the reality is like there's, especially here in Austin, like there's so much opportunity that it doesn't even matter. I mean, it's
there's
a
more
saturated
work
market.
than you could ever do. So why is that even a fear?
Yeah. And it's like you might as well just, form a partnership, friendship, and work with these people and really build out the community too. Like that's the fun part. But
I always tell people to have a collaborative mindset, not a competitive mindset. That this is an industry, at least it might be different for other industries, but this is an industry where having a competitive mindset and I'm competing against all of you guys is going to hurt you way more than having a collaborative mindset and say, well, let's work together, because they as a group, the industry as a group has a lot more to offer you than you do them. And so you're going to get more out of that relationship by being collaborative than being competitive.
I agree. I'd say the only other one was the clutch.co. I think that's a super, super important one for everybody. Because that one really is like, if you Google top video production companies, that one has the lists for each city, each state, each country. We rank high on all those lists, and there's quite a good chunk of business that comes from that. And that's same thing as Google My Business. You just got to set it up.
So you get quite a bit of work from here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there they are, Media Pouch. These just take time to set up. Takes a few days to go get on Clutch, get on Google My Business, get on some of these Facebook groups, get on VidLead, get on as many of a lot of them are free, some are paid. But if you need the work and really want to take serious increasing your revenue in your business, like, these are small costs to put yourself out there, especially small costs compared to what you did at the beginning, which was pay $4,000 in Facebook ads, when this is probably all combined been a lot cheaper and brought a lot more work. And it's just a matter of time and not necessarily money. So just that effort, that initial effort that goes into putting yourself out there. We call this marketing, folks. This is marketing yourself. And I think a lot of people they hear that phrase. They're like, okay, so make videos and post on Instagram. Yeah, that's one way to market yourself. There's a lot of ways to market yourself. And hopefully Ryan's opened up some new ideas of ways you can market yourself.
Yeah, it just takes just signing up everywhere. I mean, we're even on VidLead too, because it's another platform for us, right?
Right. Any other tips, tricks, insights you want to share?
Yeah, I would just say, like, the biggest thing I've learned in doing this the last 4 years is, like, what you preach in the course, and it's literally taking the free to fee standpoint and providing the most amount of value up front for whoever it is that you're going to work with or not going to work with. It's just comes down to being a good human being, like you said, because it pays dividends. You might not know when it's going to, but it doesn't matter, right? If you're doing it out of the kindness of your soul, it'll all come back around. And that's even one of our pillars at Media Pouch is just not free to fee, but provide as much value up front. Like that's just all it takes, and you just
over
gotta
deliver, be a pleasure to work with. These are buzzwords, things we repeat over and over. Don't gloss over them. Actually apply them. Ryan's doing it, and tell me where I think you mentioned briefly, but what are you guys on track to do this year?
Yeah, so we're on track to do 750,000 in revenue. Last year we did like 55% profit margin on that, so probably be
awesome.
right around the same. So, yeah, it's all. I just want to give you a thank you too, Parker, for talking about the course and you all the time, and like how it really did change my life. I went on this trip and just happened to pack a drone and got this cool video, and then came back, bought the course. I didn't even knock it out though. I only did 30%, but that's about all I needed.
Yeah.
Really to get up and going. But it really has been like a life-changing thing for me. So thank you.
Appreciate it, man. That's it's encouraging for me to hear. Makes me want to keep coming to work every day and keep creating content, knowing that it does actually help people. But I mean, these are eternal, universal truths. I'm not just preaching these out of my butt. This is stuff that works across a lot of industries, and that's why I keep preaching the same principles, because they do work. And Ryan's a great testament to that. I would say the focus for him has been networking, building relationships. That's one of the 5 or 6 pillars I talk about to making money, and that's one he's really honed in on. Adding value first is another big one that I hit on, that Ryan has run with and figured out how to increase his networking and relationship building with adding value first. And those kind of go hand in hand a lot of times, I've found, and what Ryan's found as well. He's invested in himself, another principle we talk about. Obviously $4,000 in ad spend up front that didn't actually pan out, but he's invested a lot of time, like we've talked about, into getting on a lot of these sites. He's invested money into new things like the Numa, that has led to even more work. And so putting that money and time back into your business consistently, not just up front, but ongoing, is what's going to allow you to scale to where he's at now, which is $750,000 in revenue. Definitely one of our higher income generating video production companies in the group. And so but the principles are simple. The application, maybe not so simple, maybe takes a lot of, and I'll also point to the fact that you pivoted a lot. That's something that a lot of people struggle with is, well, I tried ads, didn't work. This doesn't work. What Parker taught me doesn't work. Instead, he's like, well, let's apply that principle in a different application. Try something new. That kind of worked. Let's now apply it and combine it with this principle. Try something new. Hey, that worked. Got me a client in the door, got me new clients, snowballing, and we get things rolling. And they continually apply those principles. So that's one thing is, if this doesn't work, pivot. If that doesn't work, pivot again. Don't be stagnant thinking there's one way to do things. You got to get creative, got to work smarter, not just harder. If you had dumped in another 10 grand into Facebook ads, probably wouldn't do anything. It wasn't a matter of putting more money into that one thing. It was a matter of being a little bit smarter and saying, let's try something new and pivot this way. So Ryan, thank you very much for coming on today. Appreciate the insights you've given. Any last words for the troops on how to launch and run their businesses successfully and grow them to the scale you have?
Just continuous learning, just always be on top of things, like the new trends, and don't be scared to work with other creators in your community or city or wherever. Like those guys are going to help you win just as much as you're going to help them win. And I personally, just like full-time filmmaker alone, I probably know like 10 people that are contractors, vendors for us, just from this group alone. Like the people that are going to help you succeed are literally right in this group. And I know that if I ever needed something, I'm going to go there first and tap into like 21,000 people and
Yep.
figure it out.
Network, folks. Network. Build relationships. All right. I think we got some good value, Ryan. Appreciate you taking the time. Go check out Ryan's work if you want to see more work. Can they see you at YouTube, Instagram? Where do you want to go?
Yeah. YouTube's primarily where we put all of our portfolio work, and it's just Media Pouch.
Cool.
Instagram, same thing. Facebook, same thing. It's all Media Pouch, all the kangaroo.
Sweet. Well, appreciate you, Ryan. That's all we got for our Austin local here. He's killing it out there, and a lot of simple principles. Just got to apply them. But thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it.